Let's talk about the escalating clash between the executive branch and the judiciary. The Trump administration defied Judge James Roseberg's order to halt the deportation of Venezuelan migrants, flights that continued despite a federal directive to bring them back. Now, House Republicans are planning hearings targeting what they're calling activist judges, including Judge Roseberg. Are we watching the collapse of judicial independence in real time?
Well, I hope not. Listen, there have been many instances abroad of democracies that come under assault. And often it's a similar story. It's a clash between the executive branch and the judicial branch. The judicial branch says the executive can't do something, that it's illegal or unconstitutional, and the executive branch wants to get away with it. In those cases, the democracies that survive are the ones where there's mass public mobilization. We saw that in South Korea. We are seeing that in Israel today. There are many countries in the Balkans and in Eastern Europe where democracies hang in the balance, but the public continues to come out and oppose these executive branch power grabs. And that's what we'll need in the U.S. as well. If Trump continues to violate these court orders, you're going to have not thousands or tens of thousands of people out on the street, but hundreds of thousands of people out on the street, because people don't want our democracy to disappear. They don't want the president to be able to act in a lawless fashion. I don't know that the president's decision to violate the court order on the flight rises to the level to get mass mobilization. But if this trend continues, yes, I think you'll see enough people out on the streets that will ultimately, potentially have an impact.
Ironically, this same judge was just assigned to preside over a lawsuit alleging that Trump cabinet secretaries and national security aides violated federal record-keeping laws by using that Signal chat group to discuss a planned military strike in Yemen. Other than this being judicial karma, do you imagine this turn of events could affect how the Trump administration conducts itself going forward?
Well, you started to see this movement inside the MAGA world going after individual judges. But there are a variety of ways that the constitutional crisis could arrive. One of them is that any judge who rules against the administration becomes the subject of a political harassment campaign by Republican elected officials, maybe even an impeachment vote in the House. That would be a crisis of democracy as well. And you saw, a really exceptional moment last week when the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who very rarely issues public statements unsolicited, came out and said, no, it is not allowable in a participatory democracy for the party in charge to target, harass, and try to eliminate judges who simply make rulings that they disagree with. And that may be a signal of what the Supreme Court may ultimately decide in some of these high-profile cases that are on their way up to the highest court.